So tonight we're having our Clinton Community Assistance Dinner, and the food is provided by Log Cabin. The guys are generous enough to pick up the meal tonight. As you can see, it looks fantastic. This is as a thank you to all of our volunteers.
Recognizing all of you for your generous work, giving of your time, helping our community members in need. We wanted to recognize everyone with a certificate and call each one of you up. We're going to videotape it. So if you would come up when I call your name, and perhaps you can give us just a quick little brief on some of the work that you do, one of the experiences you had, if it was good, positive, that would be wonderful. So we'll start out with Jim. Thank you, Jim. Greatly appreciate it.
My name is Jim Zinneman. Became a volunteer in this program as a result of when I first moved to this town, now almost 6 years ago. Got involved in the Citizens Police Academy, took that program, learned a lot, and then learned how extraordinary the town is in terms of people helping each other out. As far as experiences in this specific program, given COVID, I focused on being outdoors. Partly my concern about my health, and more the concern about the elderly that I was visiting. I may transmit it to them. So I've done gardening, weeding, and raking leaves. And as I was just talking to Steve earlier, I enjoy getting the exercise and helping people out. But there's a trailer park off 81 where it's an oak forest. Went to rake leaves. It's like raking the ocean. I was there 6 times. I said, I don't like the exercise. And got to the 5th layer of wet leaves. I said, all right, Steve, I'll go with you next time. Someone has a blower. But aside from that, no, it's been great meeting people and getting to understand the town, being relatively new here, even though I've been here 6 years, just all the different places in town. And you think you know the town by where you live, and you just get exposed to so many different people. That's, again, this is a great program. And Chief, thanks for
Thank you so much. Next, Kathy Weiss.
So, Jim, I think you had Hardy Bergen, you did yard work, because
Yeah.
he went on and on about you, because
Did.
I volunteered with Hardy and his wife about 60 hours. They, they both she had surgery, back surgery, and he had a very bad back.
Right.
And they were, so I would go twice a week and make dinner and prepare it and clean up and sit with them. And then I would also make a meal, a sandwich or something for the next day because they were short an egg. So I would make sure that, they could open the lunch with one hand because they had both had walkers. So it was a really good experience. And then they were well. They progressed and they got better. And then COVID hit. So I didn't volunteer so much, but they, we send Christmas cards and they call us up, and say that they miss us, because my husband went sometimes, because the wife was the actual person I was volunteering for, but the husband hadn't had another person with testosterone in his house for 6 months. So my husband would go and bring him books and chat with him too. And so that it was nice for all of us. And so it was a really great experience. And we do keep in touch, although I'm not actively volunteering. We do keep in touch with them.
Thank you. In the interest of going boy, girl. Steve?
Thank you.
Very much, Steve.
I've worked with, actually I'm working with the Shoreline Soup Kitchen for the last 2 years. And I'm retired, so it's given me a chance to give back. And then when I saw this opportunity, I said, I can fit that in. And I can tell you that all the people that I've on both sides are so appreciative. And it makes me feel good, and I'm glad that I can give back because I've been fortunate in my life. So that's it.
Barbara?
lifeline for some of these people. I started taking this one woman to her doctor's appointments, and you know, I have to chuckle because on the way home she'd say, "Do you think you could just stop at the library? I have to pick up a book, and then we needed to go get a prescription, and then we needed to." She just wanted to spend the day with someone. You know, she's just lonely. So it's fulfilling to feel like you're really making a difference in these people's lives, helping them stay home, giving them some independence, and you know, I want the program perfected because someday I'll need it.
Thank you. Commissioner Heidick. Thank God, Commissioner.
One of the best things about being involved with this is seeing the progress that people make, because it's been almost over a year that there are 2 women that I've worked with, both of whom had hip operations, both of whom live by themselves, and it's just to see the strength that they're building back in. They have 2 different approaches to life, but this program helps them stay in their house. It's doing exactly what it should, and it feels so fulfilling to watch their progress, and I'm delighted to be part of it. The other thing, though, bringing one of them to an appointment at the Stafford Building in Clinton, we could put the staff. This is a nightmare for people who have walkers. The entrance ramp is too steep. There's not an automatic door button. There is a floor mat in front. The woman has a walker. If she didn't have someone with her, she couldn't open the door to get in. There's broken tile in the floor. I mean, it is. So I went to the town hall and found out who owned the building and wrote to them and said, this is just wrong. And the only thing they did was fill in the potholes in the driveway. But I mean, it made me so aware of the obstacles that people who have used walkers and canes and are trying to do it on their own face. And this building is a medical building, and it's not set up for helping people. And so put that in your brain, because maybe we could, I don't know if anything is going to happen, but I wish it would.
Thank you. Well, again, I think Commissioner Heidick makes a great point here. You don't think about it very much, right? It's a simple little thing, and the whole point of this group is that you're not helping people, that you're not becoming their home health care aides. But little things that we take for granted, simply going to the grocery store, simply going to the doctor's office for your are nearly impossible. We don't think about that. By you giving them that help, it allows them to stay in their home. It allows them to live a little more of their own life and have that freedom and be aging in their home, which is huge. And I don't think that we think about that. We kind of get lost on it because we are running around doing our daily thing. But next we have Mr. Paul Vane from Madison, and we're going to get your proper certificate. We have to fill you in, but Jim got the same treatment, so don't worry about it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, the whole thing has been great. This whole Your Community Cares, from the beginning. I started Thanksgiving Day of 21, so it's been about 14 months I've been doing this. And the first gentleman that I did was someone that Michelle well knows, Frank, Vietnam War veteran, wanted some companionship on Thanksgiving Day. And I just moved here from California. I grew up here in Connecticut, Stamford, lived here for 23 years, lived in California for 40 years. And I just moved back, around September of 21. So I met up with Frank that first day. He just wanted someone to, hang out with down by the Clinton docks. And his house had just burned down. He just had his house that his family lived in for 100 years. Electrical contractor did something wrong, burned down. He had to go live in a hotel. It's just, at the time that I met him, he had just had this, like 6 weeks earlier, had this terrible thing happen. And so, just right away, he was, to provide someone to talk with, obviously in his condition, he lives alone, he has a dog, but, he was just had this horrible thing happen, and he's alone at Thanksgiving, and, so we had a great time together. It was you know, so right away, the very first thing I did for Your Community Cares was that. And I thought, boy, this is great, you know, companionship. So the things that I do are companionship and driving. I don't do the yard work I applaud the people who do the yard work. Housework, it's not my forte. But I love the driving, because when you're driving, you get to talk to them, you have all these good conversations, and they go in and do their medical appointment, they go off and take a walk for half an hour, whatever, and come back. So it all works out very well with my schedule, my personal schedule anyway. So, yes, all been great, and I'm just very happy to be a part of this and helping out people who need help. As we said, I have a gentleman down here who has me pick up groceries for him, Dana. You know, I do that quite a bit. He just calls me up, hey, can you pick up groceries in front? Sure. Now, Dana, make sure you put it in the portal here, so, you know, because they don't do that sometimes. But it's nice. They call me first, can you do it? Sure, okay. And then, so it all works out very well, so I'm very happy to be part of the organization. Awesome. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, Lourdes Rowe.
Hi, I'm Lourdes. So it's really been an honor being part of this program. These seniors, I'll admit, the first time I picked up Patricia, I was in a complete panic. She has crutches, she's going down a staircase that's really not to code. It was a rainy night, and I'm like, how many Hail Marys do I have to say to get through this night? But you know, as getting to talk to her, she's truly an incredible woman. She was telling me about her life stories and what she's been through. And you forget that they're handicapped, that they're seniors, that they need help. It's like you see the person that they truly are. And I've also had the same experience with Donna. She is on oxygen. Again, I was in a panic, but you know, you get to know them and you just forget that they've been through this. And the joy that I think they give all of us as they're talking, it's like we have like new best friends in our community. And it's really been a pleasure.
Honestly, I want to thank everyone again. It really is heartwarming to see, you know, the things that you're doing, the impacts that you're having, and they're tremendous. Like I said, it could be just simply changing a light bulb at the top of the stairs. It takes you 5 minutes, but that person who's not able to climb the ladder, get up and down the ladder, needs to go up and down the stairs, can't get that light bulb changed, and it's become a constant source of frustration for weeks, maybe months. But you come in over in 5 minutes, really have alleviated a huge nuisance in their life and made things a lot better for them. So, again, whatever you need, please reach out to us. We have Corporal Mangs and Corporal Torino here, our point people at the PD. Anything you need, like I said, if you need gloves, if you need masks, you just need help with anything at all, please let us know. We're here to help you. You know, we're here. Hopefully, we grow and grow and grow. And the things that I love to hear the most are what I was hoping for. That when you started doing these deeds, the community deeds, you'd start building bonds with people, and you'd start getting that relationship going, and that's really, I think, the core of this program is that it builds those relationships, and it allows people to stay in their homes, which is huge, rather than have to be moved off to you know, a nursing facility or a senior care facility where they really become disconnected from so many of their roots. So it's important to keep everybody in the community and have a nice, diverse community of all different age groups. So thank you again. I greatly appreciate every one of you. Thank you. You may encounter things that you just want to be able to stabilize a person, or just make the assessment that listen, they just fell off their chair, you can pick them up. We don't want you to have to just give you a little bit of knowledge, just to make sure that if it is something that's serious, you know how to stabilize it and address it until EMS comes. You know, call 911. We'll be right on the way. And that's why Mike here is quick. Please ask any questions. But really, we're not training you as EMTs. We're not going to train you as MRTs. We just want to give you a basic knowledge so you have some familiarity. And God forbid somebody gets caught, we'll give you enough information to stop the bleed, stabilize something if possibly there's a broken bone, just stabilize them and they teach you what to do until we have a fire department show up and provide EMS help. So, over to Mike.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, everybody. Good evening. My name is Michael Bratz. I'm an EMT with the fire department. And Chief DeMeo has graciously invited us to come out and just give you a kind of overview of what to expect should you have someone who becomes injured under your care. So the first thing I would like to discuss is if someone has a cut or a laceration, There's one major consideration that I would encourage you to find out, and is your patient on blood thinners? Okay, dealing with an elderly population, geriatric population, the usage of Coumadin, some of the other blood thinners is becoming a lot more prevalent, and the function of a blood thinner is to prevent clotting. Okay, so when we're trying to, it kind of counteracts what we're doing. If someone has a cut or has like a skin tear or an avulsion, it just will continue to bleed because it won't stop because of the anti-clotting factor. So in any circumstance where you have someone who's bleeding, you always want to try to put pressure on it to slow or stop the bleeding. I would encourage you, I would imagine you have protective equipment available, such as gloves. So if you have gloves, please make sure you put those on before you do any kind of handling of bodily fluids. But in a case where you have someone who gets a cut, maybe from a knife, or the elderly population has very delicate skin, they can develop skin tears. So I would encourage you to use what you have available to you. I don't imagine you'll have first aid equipment there at your immediate disposal. So if you have a dish towel, something that you can apply direct pressure to the wound with and hold the pressure on it, especially in the case where someone may be on blood thinners, you want to apply direct pressure. When you have a pad or a towel, if it becomes saturated with blood, take another pad or towel and place it over the one that's on the wound. If there is any kind of clotting, you don't want to remove that pad or towel and open up what has actually clotted at that point. So you just want to keep stacking. So if it becomes saturated, just keep stacking and applying pressure, okay? Head wounds are a big one. When the elderly fall, they have a tendency to hit their heads. The top of the head and the nose are all very vascular places, so they tend to bleed a lot. Again, on the top of the head, direct pressure on any kind of opening, any kind of open wound. As far as any kind of nose injury, you want to make sure you have like either a pad or a towel to put over the nose, but you want to pinch. Try to encourage your patient to, or whomever you're caring for, to breathe through their nose or breathe through their mouth if you have to pinch their nose off. Sometimes it is challenging, so you can relieve some of the pressure on the nose by giving them an opportunity to breathe through their nose. As far as any kind of possible breaks, arm, leg, anything, ankle, wrist, stabilize to the best of your ability. I don't encourage you to obviously try to splint the limb or the extremity, but making sure the patient's in a position, or the person you're caring for, is in a position of comfort. That's going to be key. If you have any ice packs, you want to start icing the area immediately. You don't necessarily know when a extremity has a break to it. However, there is a good chance you're going to see some deformity in the extremity, and that's where you want to ice that area, okay? When EMS arrives, they'll take care of splinting and moving the patient. So if at all possible, keep them where they are, okay? Especially if they've fallen, they could have some neck injury. We want to keep them as immobile as possible. If you think that there is a neck injury, encourage them to stay still. You can hold their head in position if you feel comfortable doing so, but if you do not, at the very least, make sure they're staying in the position that they fell in. If there's any kind of life threat to them where they've fallen, then you have to do your best to obviously try to get them out of that scenario. But in most cases, I think that they'd most likely be okay.
So like if they fall, usually they'll find a position of comfort for themselves most of the time?
For the most part, yeah. And surprisingly enough, people who fall and have a hip fracture or some sort of hip injury, I've found that they tend to want to lay on that side, which is interesting. I haven't figured out why, but a lot of the patients that I've dealt with who have had hip injuries tend to want to stay on that side. So if they're comfortable,
Usually if they're conscious, right? If they're conscious,
If they're
they're gonna
conscious,
find
yeah,
the most
exactly.
comfortable position that causes the least amount of pain. So try not to force them
right.
and restrain them, because if they're conscious, they're gonna find the spot that works for them best.
Agreed, agreed. And when in doubt, I think the most important thing to let you know is if you're in doubt, call 911, okay? Which is something we're going to talk about too next, which is falls, just general falls, and maybe they have a controlled fall or slide to the ground. A lot of cases, someone may be sitting in their reclining chair and just slide out and land on the ground safely, comfortably, nothing is injured. If you feel that you can assist them, I always encourage, obviously, proper body mechanics where you keep your back straight and your knees bent. I encourage one hand under the arm, and if they have pants or a waistband that you can hold on to, I would encourage you to use that to help them up. It may kind of cause them a little bit of discomfort in the rear, but it's the best most effective way of getting them to a standing position, or at least back into the chair. If there's any doubt in your mind that this may cause you injury, please call the non-emergency number for the police department. You can talk to dispatch, tell them that you need a lift assist. The fire department, the police department, we come out, we'll help them to a standing position or back into the chair, no charge. If there's no injury, there will be no transport. We just simply have them sign a refusal and we're on our way. It's a very simple process. We do it quite frequently. I would say that it makes up about 25 to 35% of our calls in town, okay? But the other thing I would like to encourage too is if you have the ability, put something in front of their foot, okay? If I'm in a seated position or I can get help to a seated position, if there's something that I can get my foot to get some traction on and I'm gonna help that person up, their foot won't slip out from underneath them. And that's the biggest way you're going to hurt yourself, is if you're going to lift somebody up and their feet slip out from underneath them, now your back is bending and you're potentially injuring yourself, okay? So again, I can't stress enough, if you have any doubt whether you can do it safely, just call us. We have crews on around the clock. We'll come out non-emergently, we'll lift, and we'll go. But again, having something in front of the foot, if someone else is there with you who can help you and maybe stand with their feet in front of the person that you're caring for, that also is, then they can kind of reach and help you from the front. All right? I wanted to go over some very basic, simple care techniques for simple injuries. Okay. If you have any questions or concerns, I'm happy to answer them now, or if you want to just ask me afterwards, we can also talk then too. Yes?
Is there, would there be any specific indications if a person has had like a mini stroke and the
That's
fall
a great
was
question. Sure.
part of it?
What we would look for, and you could also look for, is any kind of drooping of one side of the face. When you ask someone to smile at you and they can't necessarily lift one portion of their mouth when they're smiling, good indication. If they're slurring their speech, that's also another indication. You can just simply put your 2 fingers out and say, can you please squeeze both my hands? And if you're not getting equal strength on both sides, something to be concerned with. But if there's any concern, again, that there's a possible stroke, then please just call us. You're not doing anything wrong by being precautious, okay? If we come out and there's, there's no concern, or if we come out and there's even a moderate concern, we're gonna transport them to get checked out, because we're not doctors. We're just there to kind of be that first step, okay? So rely on us for that. That's what we're here for, all right? I don't know if this is really necessary or pertinent to say, however, if you call us and you don't, finances are always a concern. People are concerned about the transport costs. If you call us out and there's no transport, there's no medical emergency, there's no cost for us to come out, okay? So I just want to make sure that people are aware of that too. So always, when in doubt, just give us a call.
So, honestly, we're really blessed here in Clinton to have our Clinton Volunteer Fire Department. They are all 100% volunteers over there. And their call sheet is much more than, honestly, many paid departments in the area. So, we'll be actually going to their annual dinner on Saturday night.
Looking forward to
And
it.
it's quite an amazing thing to hear how many responses each one of these individuals go out. And the top earners are almost like 1,000 calls. That's amazing. There's only 365 days in a year. And these guys are going out hundreds and hundreds of times as volunteers to help everybody. So it's just a wonderful asset to have. And we really appreciate you coming out. And again, like Mike says, do not be afraid. You think somebody's having a stroke because they have altered mental status, or they seem droopy, there's some stiffness or something, call 911. That's it. That's a 911 call all day long. We're going to come out, get intervention right away, and especially now with the meds that we have for strokes, we can get to you within the first hour, get that med injected. You know, a lot of times we won't have serious side effects from that stroke. So again, nobody's asking you to be doctors, nobody's asking you to be EMTs. We have those for you, but we want you to feel comfortable with simple things. Like somebody, like Mike said, somebody just slid out of the chair, and it's not, they're more than likely not injured. They're telling you that they're fine. There was no issue. A simple lift assist is fine. You don't really, you can do that yourself, or if you need help, call us. We'll come out and do it. Yeah, just a comfort level stuff. The other thing is that if anybody does need gloves, latex gloves, masks, any kind of those medical supplies that you feel comfortable with when you go out, just stop by the PD. We'll make up little kits for you. Happy to do that. So come on in, guys. See? All right. In that case, let's eat.